All right, 9:12. As we near 1 year since the coronavirus shutdowns began, for many, a year of isolation, now more than ever, it is so important to check in on our loved ones.
Absolutely. So to make that just a little bit easier and bring awareness to mental health issues, two friends joined forces to create the YaGood app. And joining us now is co-founders Anyanwu and Ali Gates to explain how it all works. How did I do, Anyanwu?
You did perfect.
Did I? Okay. So far, so good right here. But first, walk us through the inspiration behind the YaGood app.
Definitely. Well, it's a classic story. Like, they always say that necessity is the mother of inventions. A while back, I didn't hear from my friend Ali in a while, so I got kind of concerned. I'm like, wondering what's up with him. So I called him. He didn't pick up. Then I called him the next day. He picked up. I say, Ali, you good? What's going on? And then, he was kind of off. He explained that things were kind of off, and we spoke for a while. So, I say, Ali, I've always had an idea or an app for people to easily check in on each other. And then, he thought it was kind of interesting. And then he thought about it some more. And he said, Evans, I think you might have something. And then he looked at it from the perspective of mental health. And Ali, he could probably tell you a little bit more from that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Throughout the pandemic, so many people has been impacted, right? But I was looking at data, and I showed that, and the data showed that Blacks and minorities were adversely affected by COVID-19. And so that was a part of the motivation, right, to seeing that data prior to his phone call. And so when I started, that phone call ended up being a 3-hour conversation, I started thinking through that this could be a tool, right? So rather than us having a purpose, the app has a purpose where it's just serves one purpose, which is it just simply checks in on people and allow you to be able to share your moods, and it allow you to be able to communicate with people without their friction of being able to call someone or text someone. So it's a very effective messaging tool.
Right.
And there's so many use cases.
I was just going to ask you, how does it differ from a text message, right? Because the app uses 3 color moods. Yeah. Usually you just kind of send the text message like, how you doing? So what does each color kind of mean? Walk us through that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think we kind of broke it down. We went through what we call a 5-day sprint. And so it's kind of like Google's philosophy of building products in a very fast and efficient way. And so we looked at the Maslow's laws, right? The hierarchy of needs, right? And so we also partnered with some mental health experts and some medical professionals. And so we quickly realized these colors, which is green represent you're in a good mood, the yellow represent you're in an okay mood, and red represents you're sort of not in a good mood, right? And so those were the moves that sort of resonate with people in a color display. And so once we kind of had that all figured out in the sense of the design perspective, we just put our heads down and built it within 48 hours and felt that this could be a starting point for something big and something that could be useful to people.
Yeah, that's really quickly to develop this. But I'm looking at the color chart that you were talking about. So if someone wanted to put out there that they're in the red mood, that's obviously going to trigger people to call them, reach out, right? Because they're sending out a little bit of a signal. Right. But at the same time, is that going to get some folks who, I'm not feeling well, I haven't been feeling well, but I don't want to put the red out because then I'm going to get a ton of calls. So they're just going to stick with the yellow instead.
Well, ultimately, we don't want people to live on the app. This is not Facebook or Instagram. We don't want you to. We're not selling you anything. There's no business proposition.
Right.
What we want is for people to check in on each other. So even the yellow or even the green is gonna, make someone say, hey, see you on green. Continue to have a good day. I'm having a good day too. The thing is, we want the app to do what technology was originally meant to be, as a means for people to have real world connections, not just to live on an app and get sold something, so even if somebody, it doesn't want to say that they're on red, the fact that they're even emoting, whether it's green or yellow, is still part of that, feeling connected. Exactly.
And what, I understand there's other resources from it. So I know you're not selling anything, but are there resources if you are in an anxious mood or a little bit depressed that you can maybe have a resource available to help with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when every time you launch the app checks in on you. And so if you state that you're in a red mood, there's a call to action where you can actually quickly call the warm line if you need someone to talk to, right? Or there's a call to action where you can call, you can reach out to the suicide hotline if there's a sort of an extreme emergency. So we kind of looked at it at those resources as a starting point.
Yeah.
We see the many different use cases of how people are using the app outside of mental health, right? People are organizing these groups where it's for my fitness team or my book club, and you can add so many people in a group, and just in 2 taps of liking a picture of Instagram, you can essentially just reach out to everyone.
Right.
But I think that most importantly, and when I look at the resource component, it's something that we hear from a lot of our actual users that they would love to see the list of resources for, for mental health experts,
Totally.
medical professionals, and it's something that we could potentially look at down the line. But I think our short-term goal here is to be able to sort of align people, right? Drive a sense of connectivity and love and unity amongst people. That's our short-term goal. Long-term goal, we're managing our day jobs. So
Right.
this is now
Right.
becoming a second job. But, our purpose is really just to bring people together and try to inspire people during such a tough time.
I
Love
think it's
it.
fantastic, especially with the red code, because a lot of folks don't want to send out that signal. It's kind of like that bat signal, right? And so when you see it, people are
Yes.
going to reach out. Otherwise, you may not have gotten the help that you might have needed. So thank you guys for what you're doing. It's fantastic.
Do you want to say one more
thanks so
thing?
much.
You got one more thing?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, next time you interview us, please wear another color than red.
We're doing okay.
Yes.
This is for heart health awareness.
I get your point. I get your point. It's for a good cause today.
I'm a green. I'm actually a green
Yeah.
inside.
Good.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank
thanks
you,
guys.
guys.
That was good.
Yeah,
The YaGood
thank
app
you.
available on iOS and Android platforms. I love them. Very good stuff there.